here. We're on YouTube as well, my dear. Hello, Karine. Hello, Fê. Mário, Creosmar, hello. Hello, Pedro. Thay do Inglês. How's everyone doing? Hope you're all doing well. Hope you all have started the week with the best energy ever. How's it going? Let me write. Let me write the comments. The topic today here. If you're watching on YouTube, you already know. Measuring students' progress. Hello, Milka. Hello, Joana. Okay. Hello, Pete. Hello, Isabel. Many teachers joining. That's awesome. Great to see all of you here, ready to talk about our dear students. I know you're teachers. You love talking about students. Don't pretend. I know you love talking about your students, and that's awesome. We're teachers. That's what we know, right? I sent the question before earlier in the question box here on Instagram and got answers from many teachers, excuse me, and they were saying many things about if it's important or not to measure our students' progress, how to do it, when it's important to celebrate. So that is the topic for today. And if you have ideas to share, you can write here in the comments if you're watching here on YouTube. If you're watching here on Instagram, you can write here in the comments, or if you have a question, you can send it here to the question mark. And if you have teachers who are your friends who follow you here on Instagram, you can send this live to them so they can follow, so that you can help more teachers evaluate and help students see their progress in a better way. Hello, Mel. Hello, Agi. Hello, Carol. Great to see all of you here. First question, first things first. Do you think it's important to measure our students' progress? Yes or no? Tell me here, yes or no. Do you think it's important? Think of what you're going to answer, okay? Avoid giving me just automatic answers, like whatever comes to your mind first, right? Think, is it important to share the progress that your students are having? Do you do it? Is it important? Tell me, yes or no. Okay? Very simple question. Yes or no? Yes, definitely. Hello, Alex. Hello, Amanda. Amanda says yes. So think about it, right? Think about it and decide for yourself if it's important or no. All right? If your answer was yes, and based on the answers I got before here in the question box we have and what teachers are saying here, yes, absolutely. It's important to share the progress that our students are making with them. They have to know that after they started classes with us, they got better somehow, right? They achieved their goals. So cool. Let's start from the fact that 100% of the teachers said yes. Here, everybody's saying yes. And then there in the question I asked before, too. It is after I started having feedback sessions with my students, I saw the difference. Luani, no spoilers, Luani. Luani, don't start. All right. If it's important, now I believe it's important for you to stay until the end of this live session. All right, because if you believe it's important, of course, your mentor here brought things for you to think, right? Because okay, right? Let's do it. But how do you do it? If you work for a school, and that's the part that knowing me very well, knowing that my thing is for teachers to work the way they want to work, to do their own thing. And most of the times it involves working on their own or maybe changing the way they teach. But most schools measure students' progress with what? With what? How do schools, and how did you probably, if you learned English at a school, how was your progress measured? Hello, Fabio. Welcome to the profile. Welcome to the channel. If you work for a school, and not just for a school, many private teachers do the same thing. Oh, okay? Tests. Oh, yes. So we take tests. We get a score. Isn't it beautiful? Right? So you go to school and you take classes, you go to class. You probably follow tests and grades. There you go, Joe. You follow a book and you take a test. So if you get more than the average, congratulations, you're doing well. And then averages change, they vary from school to school, right? And students see that as progress, regardless of the fact that many students get the score and they still don't speak. They get the score, but they cannot watch a movie without subtitles. They get the score, and when they travel abroad, they freak out, right? They take tests, they get the score, but they don't feel confident. If you say, okay, so go to the front of the class here and speak with everyone, introduce yourself, or share it with everyone here, record a video, record an audio, speak in English. They're like, no, 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 no. But they got the score, parabéns. So in front of like what the school needs to show, and for the student, it's like, okay, I'm making progress. And how many students have you had in this beautiful life as an English teacher that you have, that have finished? They got to the end of a school's program and they still don't know how to speak English. They still don't know how to use the language. How many times have you talked to students that they say, I'm an intermediate student, or I finished the book whatever, and numbers, or I finished the advanced course, and they're like, cool, let's talk. I know. And then they're gonna start having classes with you, they're like, não, só quero conversação. And you're like, okay, but for us to talk, you need to know some English. No, I studied English for that number of years in that school. I finished all the books. And you're like, okay, so let's see where your English is. And you see that they're basic something. They're A2. You're like, opa. So how is that progress working? Okay. First part here, guys, and I prepared for this live. Oh, que orgulho. I was thinking about it so carefully this morning while I was waiting for my acupuncturist session to finish. It's like, okay, what did you want English for again? When students follow a book, when students go to a school, hardly ever does their main objective is considered part of the progress, part of the goal, part of the plan. Here, I talk to teachers who want to think outside the box or think outside the box. Mostly the people who follow me here are teachers that want to start their own thing. They work with their private students and they want to deliver the best. So when you are not in these systems that franchise schools and regular schools have, you are 100% free to work differently. And that's my point today. Because when a person hires you to be their English teacher, they're looking for you to solve a problem they have. They're not looking for someone to teach them how to use a certain structure or how to pronounce a certain thing. English is a means to an end. Please write this down. If you still don't think of the language that way, today is the day for you to start thinking of the language this way. And it's not for you to say, oh, but I have a certificate from blah, 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 blah. Or I studied at that school that is the super fancy school. That's not the objective people have. Yes, some people value certificates, sometimes having an international exam, having that is part of their goal. But hardly ever do people say, I want to learn English because I want to ace the TOEFL test. That's usually for teachers, right? We're freaks. People want English for something. They have their own goals, they have their own dreams regarding the language. So English is a means to an end. And this end has to be very clear for you and for your students. Why? Because that's the only way you'll be able to measure their progress. Does it make sense? Because if your students' goal is to finish the course, what are they going to do when they finish the course? How does it relate to their lives? How does it add value to what they do? If you, as a teacher, plan your classes saying, oh, by the end of this year, we'll have finished book one. What does it mean to have finished book one? Right? Where do you get, like, what do students get when they finish book one? What are they going to be able to do with whatever they learned in book one? So you have to start saying you, and again, here you know that it all starts from the teacher, right? With the teacher. Why is English important for your students? And why is it important for you to know that English is important for your students? Right? It looks like, it sounds like that episode of Friends. They don't know that we know that, whatever. Because your business as an English teacher is only going to grow in a sustainable way, in a profitable way, if your classes work, if you solve your students' problems, right? You may learn to attract many students, but if they don't see why they're there with you, why? You know, like, oh, Luciana is so nice. That doesn't keep a student happy. That doesn't make a person recommend you. They have to see that after they started classes with Gabriela, for example, things changed. Their skill, because the skill that they want to learn, which is English, got better. So they need to see you as a person who solves their problem. And you have to have that clear in your mind. What problem do you solve? What kind of problem do you solve? And then there is a question that many teachers send me every time I talk about your classes should be focused on what your students need and not the book. You have to solve a student's problem. So they're like, oh, so what you're saying only works with one-on-one classes, only with private classes with one person, right? I'm like, The good part of that is that people have very similar dreams. They have very similar problems. They want more or less the same things. So it goes back to when we talk about having a niche, having an ideal client, working with your persona. Because as an English teacher who wants to deliver quality and wants to build their own business and grow this business and live off this thing that you're building, you have to choose where, you have to find, not choose, you have to find where your specialty is. So I am a specialist. In my case, I'm a specialist in working with English teachers that want to build their own business for their English classes, that want to be independent, that want to be free, that want to make decent money, that want to be very well paid for what they do, that don't want to work for schools anymore, right? So this is the problem I solve. English teachers have many different problems, right? But my gang here, opa, we're back. My tribe here is made of people, of teachers that have that in common. Teachers that don't want to build their own thing don't join my tribe. And that's all right. And that's all right. I work with teachers. Last Friday, I just shared here in the stories, so many teachers sharing their dreams coming true. One bought a car, the other got the apartment she wanted forever, the other one was having vacations with his family, the other one was making 3 times as much, the other one went from 0 to 10K in 3 months, basically. This is the kind of problem. This is the kind of teacher that I help. So knowing the kind of problem I solve, and I'm using my own thing as an example for you, I can work by knowing that, then I know what I have to deliver, where I have to be very good at, and I know how to measure my students who are teachers' progress because they all want the same. And for them to achieve that same thing that they want, they need to have more free time, they have to optimize their schedules, they have to make more money, and they probably have to stop working for the schools they work for. So that's how I can put many teachers together and work with groups. So you see that when you work with your students, when you see English as a means to an end, okay, what do teachers want? Right? Andrea just got a new cell phone. And a few months ago, Andrea, a teacher shared saying, Camila, I finally got my iPhone. I got the newest one and I paid cash. So I have teachers do whatever they want with the money they're making. They stop making little money with the classes. So you see that even though teachers have different contexts, they have different families, they all want the same thing. So I can be the specialist that helps them get there, and I can measure their progress. Does it make sense? All right. And more, and then I see teachers when they start BT, when they start our courses, getting what they wanted. And we have to measure. And we start that in the beginning, and in the end, we see what's going to happen. Right? In this process of helping teachers be independent, be successful, build their own thing, there's one thing which is delivering amazing classes. And by listening to my audience, by listening to my clients, then we created Pro, which is a teacher training course, because there's no way you're going to attract students, solve their problem, make them very happy, start being the teacher that is the real deal, because we still have 99% of our population not speaking English. We have many English schools and many hundreds of thousands of English teachers in our country. So there's something wrong, right, in these numbers. So these teachers have to start changing the way they teach. So Pro, our teacher training course, is part of this problem, this big thing that I help teachers solve. It's not just, okay, we're going to deliver better classes because we're angels, we're good people. We want, peace and love to the world. We do. We're the best people in the world. We're English teachers. But why? Why are we improving the way we teach? Why are we bringing more quality to the classes we deliver? That's it. So that's how you start to create courses and things for your product, because you know where you want your students to be. So measuring where your students want to be requires talking to them about what they want. And sometimes students will not know how to say that to you. And you have to become a person who knows how to get their dream and turn into something concrete. Ah, eu quero aprender para conversar. Conversar com quem? Onde? Right? Like many times teachers say, ah, eu quero ganhar mais. Mais quanto? Quanto por dia, por mês, por ano? Quanto que você quer? Give me something concrete. Ah, eu quero inglês para viajar. Para viajar para onde? Quando você viaja? Você tem plano para viajar? Right? And students will have different, personal goals, but you're going to see that, you know what? I'm very good at helping students come from here to here. And now it's your job to deliver the best classes ever, pro classes, so that your students, okay, from here. What do? I take you from here to here. And then you start thinking of what you're going to plan, what's going to be in your classes, what you have to include, what skills have to be emphasized, right? Because there's no way your students are going to get there if the final destination doesn't mean anything to them. Nobody in this entire world finds motivation in ending a book. Ai, meu objetivo esse ano é acabar o livro 1. Really? Really? That's going to make your students do their homework, right? Come to class, be punctual, go to class the days they're tired. Senta lá, Cláudia, espera. So by doing that, then you change something that for those who are taking pro, and by the way, the ones who are still not, click the link in the bio. Soon we're going to start our teacher training week to get real. Okay. So if this is all new to you, or if this is all interesting to you, time for you to connect here with us and learn how to do it. Okay. Then you start changing and making your classes be really student-centered. And I'm not talking about just the class, in class, that the class is all about the student, but you as a teacher, you stop being so connected and a slave, to books. Because books help you, but they should not be the goal. Oh, it's book 1, 2, 3. Oh, it's English for whatever. No, you have to have it clear. Your students have to know what they're getting. I remember once I had a student who told me that her objective was to use English when she was traveling. And she had this thing that she would travel with her husband a lot. Her husband would speak great English. And every time they went to a restaurant, she couldn't order food herself. He had to order, or she would order the same things because she didn't know how to do it. And whenever she tried, she would make a mistake and everything. So she said, you know what? I want English so that every time I travel, and she loved traveling. I hope now, she's back to doing that. I can go to a restaurant and order whatever I want, and I can understand the menu. So how would we measure her progress? What would be in the classes that I created for her? And by the way, when she traveled, after our classes, she sent me a picture of herself in a restaurant ordering whatever she wanted. So your students will have their own goals. You're going to establish the plan for the classes, one-on-one, pairs, groups, whatever way you prefer to work. And you are going to help them see these things happening in their lives. All right. So their goal has to be something realistic, something that is part of their lives. And you have to go deep into why is it important for you? Not for me, but for you. Why is it important for you? Why do I have more than 1,200 teachers taking my courses? Why? Why is it important for them? What matters to them? The moment you change the way you think, then your courses are the best ever. Then you're the best teacher ever. Then you start seeing real results in them because it's solving your problem. And that's what businesses are supposed to do, to solve our problems. All right. Okay, so I talked about it. Let me just check my notes here because I took so many notes. All right, and then the other question I asked was, when is it the right time to celebrate? And let me see if I can open the answers here. Oh, many teachers were saying every class, every single day, every single progress. Let me see what else. Daily. My question was, when is the right time to celebrate, right? So if you want to share here in the comments, go ahead. All the time. Whenever something is achieved, something that was established during the process. Okay. Every class, all the time, every class, every single day. So everybody was answering more or less that thing. But look, another student I had, his goal was to use English because he was the manager at this big company he worked for, and he wanted to be the next level. I don't remember if he was the director or something, but he needed to speak English well so that he could go have this promotion. But he had this thing that he had started and stopped studying forever in his life. And he said, I've never been consistent with English. So his personal goal was to have daily contact with the language. So there was the goal we had in class, and it was a group. But he had his own goal, which was to have to find some time, to have some time every day, every single day, 7 days a week, right? In which he would see, like study, do something in English for at least 15 minutes. His goal was 30 minutes. And I'm like, calma, calma, right? If you're not doing anything, let's start from last time. And every class, we would celebrate the number of days, and he would have this calendar in which he would check the days he studied English. He listened to a song with the lyrics, he would watch something, he would do some activity. So he had this thing for himself that he said, I'm so tired of starting and stopping, of quitting. So for him, not just the promotion, not just what he wanted for for his career was important, but it was a personal thing. He wanted to see that he finally built the habit of studying or seeing English every day. So when we got like first week, second week, third week, 30 days, 40 days, 60 days, oh my God. So I knew he wanted that, right? And in our group, he would share everything he was doing. And it was super cool because his wife would sometimes, I knew her, she had been my client too. She would send videos like behind the door saying, look, he's listening to music. He's really doing it. Haha. So he involved her in his challenge as well. So by doing that, we could achieve the goals he wanted for the language and everything else, but he had his own thing, right? So when you talk about establishing goals, there is something general about the language, but your students have those things. So when is the right time to celebrate? If your students want, for example, they love music and they want to start understanding what the lyrics are about, you know, you have to know that, because some people will like, I will really want to listen to music and understand what they're saying. I really want to watch a movie and I hate watching when it's dubbed. I really want to read the subtitles in English. They have personal things. Others, I had one that said that in her church, there was this sermon or whatever that was in English and she wanted to participate. That was important for her. So I said, okay, that is going to be part of your homework assignments. You have to be there. And when are we going to celebrate? When you tell me that you went there and you understood one thing, one sentence, one context, one idea, one message, right? And there's so many stories, and students are going to have the goals that you plan, right? So what's happening today? And what's going to happen in a month or in 6 months or in a year, and things will happen along the way, and your students will start noticing the unexpected victories. For example, once there was this student that wanted English for her career. She needed to talk to everyone, but then one day somebody from I don't remember the country, from her global team came to her company for the meeting, and she would run away from lunches, right? And I love that part when people say, I want business English. You're like, okay, business involves having lunch with people, having dinner with people, taking people out, right? Welcoming people. So yes, you have to learn all the language. There's no such thing as business English. But in that student situation, she said, I invited Fulana for lunch. And that was something she had never done. She would always run away. She would always find an excuse not to go have lunch with people who came from other countries to her company, right? Which was not good for her career, right? It was okay, but It wasn't that thing that you have to do in order to grow in your career in big companies. So she said, I invited Fulana for lunch. So we went, just the two of us, for lunch, and we had amazing conversations. She's like, I'm sure I made many mistakes, but we had fun. I got to know her, she got to know me, and now every time we have meetings online, we're much more comfortable with each other. We hadn't planned that. That was not part of the things that we established were going to happen. It happened. And she found the confidence and the courage to invite the person because we were working with so many things, and she brought that to class. So when is it the right time to celebrate? When your students notice things. Oh, I was coming to work and I was listening to that song. Oh my God, is this what they're singing? You're like, wow, I never paid attention to that, to those lyrics. Yeah, let's listen. Oh yeah, I finally understood what Fulano was singing. Time to celebrate. Whenever your students like they have good days, right? There are many students like, wow, what happened to you today? You're so fluent today. Time to celebrate. Time to celebrate when they didn't miss any class. The ability to notice, right, Marcia, when they can notice, and then when we help them do it, right? Well, awesome that you mentioned that here. When, let's say, for the person is a challenge to be on time for classes, and then they can be on time for 2 weeks, for the whole month. You're like, wow, this month you didn't miss any class. That's awesome. Congratulations on the discipline, right? When they notice they made a mistake, when they correct themselves, when they help each other, when they notice whatever you studied in class outside in the real world, right? So the time to celebrate is, of course, when you achieve the goal that you established with that student. Okay, where I'm going to prepare, help people prepare the IELTS. So we want, the objective is for the student to achieve that score, 5, 6, right? And then they start to practice, they start to study, and they're like, wow, I used to score, I don't know, 5, and now it's 5.5. Oh, I used to get this number of questions right, now I'm getting this number. So it depends on the kind of problem you choose to solve, so that your students can start noticing, oh, I noticed that they always ask a question about two. Wow, that's awesome, right? I don't need to use Google Translator anymore. I was at work and they called me to help with that report in English, with that email in English, with that person from another country who was here. They called me for it. Or I traveled with my family and they didn't know something, or I was traveling with friends and I was the one that saved everyone from getting lost. I don't know. I was watching these series and really, when I noticed I wasn't even reading the subtitles. Whatever is important for them. So the time to celebrate is not just when they achieve the goals that we establish with them, but when they take notes, when they go back and remember things, when they can add, right? Andrea says, I celebrate when my students proudly send me pictures showing that they're studying and how, there you go, right? So these moments when students realize that English is happening, and they're so authentic, they're so spontaneous, that you have to help them see that English is part of their lives, and it's going to be more and more included in their daily routine, because they are making it happen. You see, so time to establish that okay, what do you want? And for you to achieve that, we have to do these things. But we're not just going to celebrate in the end. We're going to celebrate each thing. So for students that when they come to you, they can barely make a sentence. And you know these guys, right? They can barely make a sentence. You talk to a person, they cannot form a complete sentence. But on that day, in that class, they do it. And you're like, wow, wow. See? You didn't have to repeat yourself like, oh my goodness, that's amazing. And you have to see and you have to find something to praise, right? So celebrating the progress is just like, olha, terminamos a unidade 1. Like, who cares? Oh, parabéns, tirou 93 na prova. So what? Right? Unless it's a test, and of course, right? And help them see, the girls were saying here, when and where English happens in their lives. And if it doesn't, connect whatever they told you their objective is to their real lives. I want that for traveling. Do you travel? No, I never travel. Do you have plans to travel? No. So why do you want English for trips, travel? Okay, shall we plan a trip together? Then we have a goal. Because sometimes it's like, I want to do this, but it doesn't make sense in your life. You use English for phone calls at work, right? So help them achieve that, and I mean, not achieve, but define their progress in these senses. Okay. Oh, and I wrote another example here of a student I had who was the director of a hospital, and I wrote under the unexpected. Okay, the sense of achievement. That's it, kids. And this guy, he was the director of a big hospital here in Curitiba, and he wanted to unlock his English. He said, "You know what? I want to learn English. And he was that kind of person that his objective was not to have the bad feeling every time he had to speak English. Because every time he had to speak English, he would panic. He would get so nervous and he would just, not be as good as he was in Portuguese, blah, blah, blah. So that was the thing. And in the middle of the way, while we were having the classes and all, he was invited to be the director of another hospital. So it wasn't part of his goal, but somehow, in the middle of the process, he was invited. He was invited for this meeting, for this big group, and he was invited to be the director of this bigger one. He would make more money. He would be more powerful and everything. And guess what? English was one of the things that was not even required. It was a given. He was ready for it. So there is what's expected, what is planned, and there is what's unexpected. And your students, whenever that happens, they're going to look at you and say, wow, olha só, I was the only one who could speak English. I was the only one who could understand what Fulano and Fulano were saying, right? So helping them see these things and leaving them with an open mind to what's going to happen that we cannot predict is also part of our jobs, to help our students see that they're making progress. And just as a final thing here that I wrote in my beautiful notes here, I'm so proud of myself when I do that, because I don't do that all the time. Most of the times it's just here. Many times I see teachers connecting the progress, and first, let's say because of habit, connecting the classes and the plans to the books. But many times with the fear, with the subconscious, fear that students will leave them. And our goal as English teachers, as people who want to help someone develop a skill, is that the final objective for us is to make students be independent, to make our students be autonomous, so that they learn the language and they don't need you anymore. Just like college. Can you imagine if you had to go to college and you could only be the person you wanted to be, like the profession you wanted, if your teacher were right there next to you? So that's not the point, so just let go of this idea that the student will be with you forever. And again, going back to the niche, if you help beginners, they're not going to be beginners forever. And your goal is to bye, go, you don't need me anymore. They may need teachers or groups or whatever to practice, to improve, or to work on a certain goal they have. But I don't want anyone depending on me. Just like the teachers, they join BT, they join Pro, they take the courses with us. but they should not be with me forever. Okay, of course, following on Instagram and seeing what's up and getting all my new ideas. Some teachers go to BTE All In because they want to develop their online thing even more. But the idea, success for me, is when teachers learn how to do that, how to come from not being independent or being independent but making Boston money. And then I know how to make good money with this thing. That's it. Vibe, go. Now it's on you. Sure, let's be together here. Let's inspire each other, but no. And many times teachers are afraid of like, oh, but we still have to learn this and that. We still have to. No, it's your goal. Did you achieve it? Parabéns, agora vai, right? Be that kind of person who's not afraid of, the birds fleeing the nest. Because if a student achieved what they wanted and they're like, oh, okay, now can we have classes just once a week, or maybe I can be in a group so I can keep practicing. It is a skill. If we stop practicing, we'll start losing it. It's a fact. But when you understand that you're here to help a person, look, every time you need to work, improve your English this way or work with your English this way, this is what you're going to do. Oh, but I need to practice conversation. Okay, so let's have classes once a week to do it. Let's join a group. It is a different goal. It's not the same thing, right? Maisa is saying it's always good to be around. I get many insights. Maisa, I do too. I follow my professors, teachers, instructors, mentors from other courses, but I don't depend on them anymore. So I'm there because I know they keep studying, they keep improving, and I want to be around, but I don't depend on them anymore. I already achieved my goal. So mission accomplished. Congratulations. Now let me find, the next step. Let me find what else I have to do. Your students are not going to be beginners forever. They're not going to be intermediate forever. They're not going to not know, they're not going to not know that thing forever. And your goal is to solve problems and move on. Maybe you're going to take 6 months to do it, a year, 2 years. I don't know what kind of problem you solve, right? But many teachers think that, oh, but they are going to start as beginners with me, and what if when they're advanced, they shouldn't be with you anymore, right? They should be with people who are the best for advanced students, for the goals advanced students have, which are very different from people who are starting, which is very different from kids and teens and adults. But being desapega, OLX, né, Alex? But the thing for you you see that it's a mix of your business mindset and your mindset as an English teacher to what you deliver, how you plan your classes, how you plan not just each one of the classes, but your months, your courses. Many teachers here watching me want to have their own online course. I recognize names that already told me that. How are you going to do it? How are you going to do it? How are you going to be that person that inspires people, that attracts students, if you did not become a specialist in solving that kind of problem, if you didn't develop your own way of teaching, if you don't have your own classes, your own explanations and presentations, and your own, like dynamics, your own method? How are you going to create your course if you have no idea how to do it? It's okay if you don't know how to do it yet. But if you have your own objective, and your objective as a teacher is to create your online course, you don't know how to do, you already know where you can learn how to do it. And the moment you join us, again, one more chance for you to do it. It's already in my bio. We're going to start a free teacher training week for you to learn what needs to be done. The goal is that you learn how to do it and you go. Okay, Camila, I really want to improve the way I teach my classes. I'm not happy with the results my students are getting, or I spend too much time planning my classes. All that you said here about measuring progress is all new to me, or it makes sense to me. It sounds familiar, but I don't know how to do it. Okay, join us, learn how to do it, and go. Right? It's not for you to, oh, but I'll have to always do it. No, you're going to do it now. And later you're going to have different challenges and later you're going to have different things to do. So see your progress too, right? What you want to achieve in your life as a teacher. See what you need to learn. Find the best people to help you, and you're looking at one of them, right? Register if planning classes more efficiently, using less of your time, helping your students really achieve their goals, helping them establish goals and how to measure goals so that you can build your own thing, so you can create your online course, your own material. Pro is what you need. And in September now, we're going to have a free week, a free teacher training week for teachers who want to improve that. 100% free. All you have to do is to commit yourself. Be there, show up, do what's required for you to do. Because we're talking about progress and achieving goals, right? Same thing happens for you guys. You want to achieve that? I'm going to tell you what to do. Guess who's going to have to do what needs to be done if you don't do it? All right? So it's an exchange. I'll give you the lessons, I'll give you the classes, I'll give you the tools, I'll tell you what to do. You have to do it so that you achieve the goals. Sounds fair, right? Sounds very fair. So it's the same thing with your students. What do you want? I want this. This is what you have to do. You have to get there. And you're going to be celebrating each one of the things. So in this week that we're going to have now in September, we are going to measure during this week, these days in which you're going to have the training. Let's see what you already changed, what you already did from yesterday to today, because we don't have to wait a year, 2 or 3 to start seeing the results. We can do it like this. And if you know me very well, and I know that most of you who are here know me very well, agiliza. Waiting doesn't make, waiting for no reason. Like, why? Why wasting time? Okay? So, teachers, summing up what we saw here today, measuring our students' progress and helping them see that is important, is essential. It has to be part of your classes, of your class plans, of what you deliver to your students. You have to help your students define what their goal is. And you have to help them establish when they're going to achieve that, how they're going to get there. It's your job to help them do it. Okay, that's why they hired you. And you have to help them see the small victories they have along the way. And you have to be the one helping them point out, like, look, I learned this. This is better today. This is different. This has improved. It is your job to do it, because most of your students, especially if they're adults, they come with a very sad story, right? Like, oh, tell me about your life with English. It's probably going to be something sad, and you don't want them to be your students and continue telling sad stories. You want them to start telling the best stories ever regarding learning the language, and they can only tell these stories if these stories have a beginning and an end, the means to an end. English is a means to an end. What's your objective? What's your purpose? That's when you start to have students who are committed. That's when it's easier for you to plan your classes. So you stop wasting time planning classes that are just, oh, first we have to teach the present simple, and then present continuous, and then simple past, and then we go for present perfect. Parabéns, objetivo de merda. Okay? So first, my students are going to learn how to do this. They're going to master doing this. This is what they're going to be able to do with the language. Of course, it involves grammar, but grammar is not the main point. All right? Thank you so much for being here today. Let's make this an amazing week. It's almost the beginning of September. Oh my goodness, right? August lasted like 10 years, but now it's already September. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful week. I'll see you all on Wednesday. We have a live again here at noon on Wednesday. Hope you have all gotten something special from this one today and start applying these things with your students. All right? See you later. Have a wonderful Monday. Beijos. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, teachers. Take care.